throw a wheelchair-bound nun off a cliff, Kyle. It is, you could not write a more ridiculous kick the dog moment. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's so funny. Hello and welcome back to the 179th episode of Good Bad or Bad Bad, the show I share about movies and tell you if you should too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Schilgo. The other host, sitting across the table, Mr. Kyle Hinton. Kyle, how you doing this fine morning?
I totally didn't intend for us to do another film that had Mel Novak in it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, are we just doing Mel Novak movies now? Is that all we do? Are we a Mel Novak movie show? I'm not mad about it. I love Mel Novak movies.
Oh, mistress, your grip is so strong.
Although, in comparison, this is back when he was much younger and more menacing.
Yes, he is considerably younger. This movie is from like 1985 or something like that, and Mel Novak he still looks old. I don't know if Mel Novak has ever not looked.
He was like 35 and just looked 60 for the next 30 years.
Patrick Stewart syndrome, where he's just it's a man who is he has looked 60 since he was 30, but he is not aging. He's just staying eternally that age. It's a picture of Dorian Gray or whatever. Yeah, something going on there. I don't know what's going on. The picture of Mel Novak. That would be a whole movie. Mel Novak playing Dorian Gray. I would watch that. Nuts. Anyways, the movie this week. I don't know how you found this. How did you find this movie?
I just dug through and just was like, I didn't even look through this for Mel Novak. I had known the guy who was the lead in this, which is Tadashi.
Yes.
I had known him because he's in the martial arts scene.
Yes.
And he was back in the day of like just post Bruce Lee when you had like Jackie Chan. That was basically it.
Yeah.
And so I'd been familiar with his work before. Also
in the West. That was like the people we were. Yeah.
Also, his chin is like made of granite.
Dude,
like,
this guy.
That is the most predominant chin I've seen since maybe Robert Z'Dar.
I was about to say, Robert Z'Dar is another very famous chin on this show that we've had. But yeah, no, he is absolutely has a very unique face, and he was also the first time I saw him in this movie from a distance, I assumed he was much younger, and then when we see him close up, I was like, this man's like
50.
Yeah, he's like 55 years old. I thought he was gonna be like a young, like a like Bruce Lee, like in his prime, like in his 20s or 30s. I'm like, no, this is an older dude, still kicking ass though.
It's probably Bruce Lee's stunt double though.
Yeah, honestly, wouldn't be surprised. Who knows? But so this the movie, I haven't even said what the movie is. The movie is Sword of Heaven. So Sword of Heaven, I mean, we might as well get into it because the setup for it is what the movie is.
I love the title because of the sword, this titular sword.
Titular sword, yes.
We go back like 400 years ago.
Yes, it says 400 years ago.
And we're in like feudal Japan.
Well, we're in space, but yes, eventually.
We're in space. So a meteor lands in feudal Japan.
Yes.
And these monks are just doing their monkiness.
Yeah.
Monkness.
I don't think that's how you would say that.
They're doing their monk thing, and then a meteor hits, and they're like, we better make a sword out of that.
Yeah. Well, just famously, like, you hear the stories of, like, old famous katanas or whatever being made from meteors. It's like a mythological thing. I think it maybe happened too. I don't actually have no idea, but that's what they're clearly trading on here with
also this sword, this metal glows blue.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's radiation.
That's
bad. Radiation.
That seems bad. It's magic, Kyle. It's meteor magic.
It's a magical day.
My favorite little detail of the open here is when we get the meteor flying through space. It's an awesome miniature, like, little rock tumbling in front of them. It looks fantastic. I love it so much.
There's just something about old school practical effects that have a charm.
They did. There's a delightful charm to them, and that opening shot of the meteor flying through space made me grin like an idiot. So they make a sword out of it, and then we get the opening title card, and the opening title card's great because it's just like some shrine with like candles, and then the katana is just like floating above it, and the camera pushes in, and it's like Sword of Heaven, and it's like all shiny metal like title card. It's a great title card. I love it a lot. It would be a sick poster. I don't know if that is the movie poster for this, but it would be awesome. Then we cut from the opening title card, immediately jump in, and Mel Novak just strangles some lady to death.
Yep.
It's like, who is
He's like
what?
he's an assassin or a hitman or something.
Yeah.
And he just like literally like Agent 47 is just garroting these people with wire.
And he always says to them, "You should have paid," or something like that.
You should have paid.
Target down. Well done, 47.
And it's like, well, that information is going to serve them zero purpose now as you strangled him to death. But yeah, he's like, you should have paid, and we're setting up this mystery of what's going on.
I'm no expert when it comes to assassination or extortion. If you kill,
Kyle, I fucking hope so. Anyways, continue.
I don't know. I do play a lot of Hitman games, but you don't kill the people who owe you money.
Seems like a bad idea. Seems like you can't get your money then that you want. I don't know. Like, yeah, we'll find out what this whole plan is a little bit later. But yeah,
There's enough money here to set us both up for the rest of our lives.
then we cut from Mel Novak strangling this woman, and we're introduced to Tadashi, and we're introduced to him by just riding a dirt bike all across the sand dunes of California, I assume. He's just riding, but my favorite thing is he's riding his dirt bike all over these sand dunes, and there's one point where he just completely eats shit, and they just leave it in the movie. He just fucking eats it, and they're like, "That's funny, leave it in." Who cares?
I mean, it's realistic
Yes,
because a dirt bike on sand is not exactly the most stable of things.
You can tell watching him that he almost ate shit quite a few times, and they just left one of the times in that he did eat shit. But I thought that was very funny. But we're introduced to him, and he then pulls up to that's his introduction to him riding around a dirt bike. But then he goes to like some police academy or something.
So he is a Japanese policeman who is, I guess,
he's
on
vacation is what the lady says later. Yeah.
And I guess he knows somebody at this department.
Well, he knows Irish cop apparently. Well, then I guess they don't.
This is where they first
where they
introduced.
meet. Yeah.
But like he's been invited to I guess do like some demonstration.
Yeah.
About the techniques that they use over in Japan.
I guess it seems like that's what's going on here. But he's walking down this line, and they're all like doing like martial arts or whatever. And we're also introduced to the fact that so the character's name is Tadashi, but that is also the actor's name in real life is Tadashi. So they're like, let's just make it easy. It's the same name.
He's the best the Japanese police have to offer. Special Officer Tadashi Karasawa.
But yeah, he's training them or something in like some sort of Eastern martial art or whatever. And then we roll up on the final guy, and this is Irish cop. I love Irish cop.
I just kept calling him Patty.
Yes, I don't know what his name actually is, but yeah, he's in my notes he's Irish cop.
Listen, Patrick, this is the third millionaire in the past 2 weeks to end up DOA, not to mention 4 others.
But he wants to fight Tadashi because he's like, this is dumb. I hate these dumb martial arts. In the old country, I would just punch you in the face.
It's not like this guy is very intimidating, like stature either. No. He's almost as small as Tadashi is.
He looks like a Philip K. Dick protagonist. He is a schlubby motherfucker. Mm-hmm. He is just like a short, chubby guy.
Yeah,
he looks like us, Kyle.
Even Mel Novak's not that big of a guy either, but at least he's like.
Yeah, he's like, you could tell he's a man that does martial arts and works out and stuff like that. This is just a guy. He looks like a mall security guard. He looks like Paul Blart. Yes. And he's like, I will kick your ass, Tadashi. And it's like, I bet you won't. I really bet you won't.
Oh, let me show you how we got into scraps in the old country.
That's literally what he says.
And these exercises, they don't compare with the real fighting we had to do back in the old country.
And Tadashi just like beats the shit out of him immediately. Yeah. Also, his Irish accent is really weird. It like comes and goes.
I don't think well, obviously he's putting it on. I don't think he actually has one.
Well, because it's either that, or I was like, okay, is he putting on an accent that kind of goes in and out, or is he an Irish actor who has been so Americanized that it's like mostly
like
gone?
Liam Neeson
or something?
I will find you, and I will kill you.
Yeah, but because it is there sometimes. But I think you're right. I think it's just an American actor putting on an Irish accent.
I mean, it's not like it's terrible. It works.
No, yeah, it's fine. But it is super minimal.
This is child's play. You know what I'm talking about? I was the terror of Belfast when I was a kid.
I guess that's the thing that's maybe impressive if he is an American and not an Irish actor. Is he's not doing like a caricature of an Irish accent all the time, where he sounds like the fucking Lucky Charms mascot or something like that. Luckily.
Wait, why so little? I mean, that's chicken feed for these fellas.
Anyways, so then we go into this other. We cut to this back to Mel Novak killing the next person. And Mel Novak is apparently in Phantom because this next guy he kills, he's like in front of him, and then he like the lights go out or something, and he's like behind him, and he just strangles that guy to death. And this is some doctor who owed money.
I mean, clearly they're going after people. They're going after people with money. Yeah.
Yes. They explain the plan here too after this scene. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the third millionaire in the past 2 weeks to end up DOA, not to mention 4 others.
They're going after people of a certain wealth who I guess wouldn't have security.
And specifically, they say that like they're so wealthy that 150. So they're trying to extract extort $150,000 from these people. They basically message them, say you have 24 hours, 48 hours to give us $150,000 or we'll kill you. Mm-hmm. And so far, Mel Novak has just killed all of them.
Yeah, like if you get that message and you're like,
what?
Okay,
I don't know what this is. Yeah, but the idea they say is that these people are so rich that they will just have $150,000 like in their safe or something like that. I guess is the idea.
I mean, after all, the people in that tax bracket have that amount on hand in petty cash.
But so we kind of set up the plan, and then we're now at the bad guy military. I don't know who they are or what this is.
It makes no. They just look like they're a paramilitary force. They're just out of nowhere
in LA, like outside of LA. Where is this even supposed to take place? This is in America, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It just seems like the outskirts of LA.
There's an entire paramilitary group that Mel Novak runs. I don't know if he runs it. He's one of the higher ups or whatever. But it's him, and spoilers, we'll find out, one of the cops basically that runs this thing. But he's training the new recruits,
and they're all doing like
punching and kicking. And he gives a speech about it.
Bullets are impersonal. Bare hands and knives inspire fear.
I will say I did notice this in the credit in this particular scene when they have like all the like I think they're just called like martial artists for this part. One of the extras is, it just says the name there, Rob Schneider.
No.
Yes. No, I don't think it is, because he would have been. I think he would have been.
He would have been like on SNL, right? Or close.
22 at the time?
85 was close to when he was on SNL. No, it was in the 90s, wasn't it?
It was before he was in SNL.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't that. Would he have been a star? Yeah.
No, I don't think there's. I mean,
a star, but whatever. Rob
possibly. I know he was in LA at the time, but
I hope it's the actual.
That'd be
Rob
hilarious.
Schneider. That would be very funny.
Rob Schneider, derp-de-derp. Derp-de-derpity-derpy-derp.
So but he's training these guys, and he gives a speech about how bullets are impersonal and that you have to use fisted knives to inspire fear. And then there's this one guy who's apparently not doing it right, and Mel Novak walks up to him and like is like pointing his knife at him, and then like threatens to cut his junk off or something. Like he holds the knife on this guy's.
Pokes him in the dick.
Yeah, pokes him in the dick, and is just like, and then walks away. I'm like, what is happening? But we then find out that Mel Novak has the sword, I think.
Yes. So it's him and the guy running. I think the guy running the whole or the guy who was helping him run the whole operation, because it seems like Mel Novak is the logistics and like orderly kind of guy.
He's like the military,
And the corrupt cop is the one who basically has the money and the resources.
He's like the mastermind, the guy that runs it, and Mel Novak's like the muscle and the he does all the military training.
And they just have this 400-year-old ancient katana that's just out in the middle of nowhere and looks like a fucking mall sword that you picked up.
Yes. And then like we said, it was revealed that the cop is that we saw earlier with Irish cop. Oh, surprise, he's evil.
Yep.
And then we cut to a guy who, and I can't remember his name, but he's looking for the sword because it's his family sword. And we're introduced to him and his daughter Satako, something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is.
Yes.
But we're introduced to her, and she doesn't care about the sword. She's like, "Why are you so obsessed with this sword? Who gives a shit?" And he's like, "No, it's our family sword. We have to find it. It's to maintain our family honor. We have to get the sword or whatever."
You know what the sword means to our whole family.
I know that you've wasted years of your life searching for it.
And then we cut. He's going to look for it. This scene drove me it was wild. We have a scene.
Yes. The editing for this is just a thing needs to happen. Let's cut to it instantly.
Let's cut to it happening. A guy tells his daughter, we have to find the sword. It's our family heirloom. We have to find the sword. Hard cut. That guy
He's in the compound,
and he has the sword. And I'm like, wait. Holy shit, I think we skipped a few steps there. All right. He just appears in the compound and has the sword. And I was like, oh great. Fantastic.
This movie is breakneck speed.
Yes. Oh, it flies. And then, so he gets away with the samurai sword, or he takes the sword and he's running. And I love, there's one of the bad guys is one of my favorite performers, and he's like a henchman guy, and he runs up and he's like, I think he's talking to Mel Novak or somebody. One of the henchmen is talking to somebody else, and this guy runs up and goes, "He got away with the samurai sword," and the other guy goes, "Oh no!" It's so stupid. I love it so much.
A thief. He got away with both the samurai sword. Oh, no. No gunplay unless absolutely necessary. We'll do this the way we've been trained.
And one of the guards who's like, as the guy's leaving, does the only reasonable thing and fires shots at him. But then, like, some lead henchman dude's like, "No, we need to use fists and knives." It's like, oh, you don't want to pay for a firefight? Okay.
Fantastic.
Oh, no. No gunplay unless absolutely necessary. We'll do this the way we've been trained.
And then so this guy's running through the woods with the sword, and Tadashi is just like having a picnic. What is he? He's sitting next to his dirt bike. Oh, there's like a little camping setup or something. I'm like, what is he doing?
You've never been driving your dirt bike around like the LA wilderness, and you're like, man, this seems like a good place to have a little lunch.
Yeah, I guess. It's just so random because he's just there, and this guy just runs into him, and they meet up, and he's like, oh, okay, and he helps him escape. He's like, "Get on my motorcycle and we'll leave." And they're driving away. And I also love during this whole chase scene and so much throughout this movie, the music is like
the music's insane.
It's so bad.
It's like saxophone and like jazz, but like high tempo stuff.
Get the Jeep.
It sounds like it doesn't match at all. It's like weird A-Team music, kind of, I think, is what they're going for, but it's so goofy and ridiculous.
We have this very serious chase going on, and the guy who the dad to that one girl gets shot at one point.
Yeah, he gets shot in the side or something.
And we have a moment of dramatic tension going on. And the music's just like,
yes, it doesn't match at all. It's incredible. And then I love, we cut to the henchmen are trying to find them, and they're driving a Jeep through like the woods, and they roll up on some construction worker crew or something that are dressed like the village people. I don't know what is happening. They're a construction crew, but one of them's wearing like a football jersey. They're just dressed insane. And the guy's like, I love this. Did you notice that the one henchman, and I don't know if this is an intentional joke that he's doing, like a bit, or if this guy just pronounces this word this way. But every time he says it, he goes,
"You heard a motorcycle in these woods?"
Hey, hum a few bars and I'll tell you.
"Y'all hear a motorcycle in these woods?"
Yes, motorcycle.
A motorcycle? I was like, a motorcycle? Oh, man.
"You heard a motorcycle in these woods?"
So then, Toshiro, that's his name. Toshiro is the guy, the father, who stole the sword. They stop for a minute, and Tadashi is like, "Hey, you're too injured. Give me this sword." He gives him the sword, and he's gonna take it, and he just leaves Toshiro there in the woods.
And this is the last we see of this guy.
I assumed he died.
No. He'll recover, is what he says later.
Your father has been hurt, but he will be all right.
Fine. Yeah, dude, that blew my mind. I was like, did he just die? Did they just leave him there to die? No, he's fine.
This is a film that they started shooting, and it ran out of budget, and they had to come back later and finish, but they couldn't get people back or something. They had to do a lot of rewrite work on this film.
I think it's that, or they were literally making shit up as they went. It's one of the two. Like it could be very much one of the two. And they're like, okay, and then you just leave him because you got to go fight with the sword, and we don't want the injured guy there. And he's like, okay, well, what do we do? What do we do with his story? Like, well, let's say he was fine later. Well, who cares? Whatever.
He's recovering. Somewhere.
Yeah, he's recovering. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
I should be thanking you. You saved my father's life and asked for nothing.
So then he rides off, and then also one of the security. Then he's able to just escape basically.
Yes.
And then one of the henchmen runs back into the construction people.
I don't know what happened to the rest of the henchmen.
They got killed by Tadashi, I think. Or something.
Well, so he's coming back alone.
Yes.
And he goes through the construction workers like, so where'd your buddies go?
Yeah.
Look what we got here, and all by himself.
And apparently they beat the living shit out of him.
They just beat the shit out of this guy, because then we cut to him reporting back at the base, and he's just gotten the shit kicked out of him. And I love that, and this is the guy that got the shit kicked out of him, that he's the one who says motorcycle. He does it again in this scene, but he's like, we tried knives, we tried fists, we even tried guns, and we couldn't get him.
Nothing works.
Like, nothing works. He got away on his motorcycle.
We tried everything. We tried knives, we tried swords, and we even tried guns, and he still went through us like butter.
But I got the license plate. So, and there's nothing to show like anybody saw anything. There's like no shot of the motorcycle driving away and a reverse shot of like either binoculars or something like that.
No.
Nothing to indicate somebody was able to. I have the license plate number.
Yep, so we got it. All right, cool, great.
The plate number for the motorcycle.
Cute, Rollo.
How can you be so stupid?
Then we cut to a birthday party with a giant tit cake.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I guess this is like a strip club or something.
It's a brothel.
Yes, it is a brothel.
Look. It's a sisterhood, and there's no greater place to celebrate one's birth than a giant tit cake and a brothel.
Tit cake and a brothel. It's great. It's fantastic. And they're like, happy birthday. And then fucking we're introduced to Kane, who is just the most evil motherfucker that has ever been in one
his
of these
only
movies.
direction was be evil, be super evil. I don't care what you have to do to be evil. Be evil.
Hey, can you turn the evil up another notch? Because we're introduced to him, and he comes in and just threatens every woman all the time, constantly.
Yes.
In this scene, he threatens to throw acid on one of the women's face. I think it might be Satoku or Satako.
Pour a little acid on your face. Make you feel real good.
Well, and that's the other thing that was wild.
Yeah.
Surprise.
She's working in a brothel.
Sashiro's daughter is a prostitute. And I was like, wait, okay, I guess. Like, we were introduced to her earlier, and just all of a sudden she's now here working at the brothel. I was like, wait, all right, sure, fine. And so she's working at the brothel. Kane tells her she has to go work for some doctor. He's like, hey, I got a special client for you. It's the doctor. And she's like, I fucking hate working with this guy. And he's like, well, if you don't do it, I will throw acid on your face. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Also, hilariously, Kane's like super short.
Oh, yes. He is also very short, which is funny. No offense to all the short kings.
Also, another crazy thing. So, like, in the credits, they say this is introducing him. So, like, this is his first role.
Is that him?
Not only that, I think he was also a producer.
He was, because I saw that name. Yeah, Joe Randazzo or something like that.
So, I'm guessing he knew Tadashi in some way.
Yeah,
I guess they probably are in the same like martial arts, stunt people, and it's just bizarre where he's like, well, we need a villain for this. Well, you have Mel Novak, but we need like maybe something a little more flavorful. It's like, hey, I can be the most evil motherfucker on the planet.
I'll just play myself. I don't know that for a fact. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I have no idea, but then we cut to her job with this, and is this the mortician? Remember,
I thought it was. Yes, yeah. I think it is.
I think it is too. So earlier we saw like the people who had been getting killed were like they go and they visit a mortician, and he's like working.
It's a city. This is a county
coroner or whatever.
Office.
Yeah.
So it's the coroner's office. In his office, he has bodies.
Yes,
in his office
next to his desk.
And in his desk, he also just has bottles of liquor and whiskey.
Hey man, it's back in the day. They just fucking drink and cut up bodies.
So in the same scene where they're like just examining a body, seeing how it was killed. This is one of Mel Novak's victims, so the
strangulation
it's all cut up.
marks and stuff.
And then they're like, all right, well, put the cover back on, open up the desk, and grab a bottle of whiskey just within arm's reach of each other.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
it's so funny.
Sounds like a job to me. Sounds like a hell of a gig.
So the Irish wouldn't rule the world. Oh, sorry, Doc.
But we find out that this mortician has a bit of a humiliation fetish.
He's got
a little bit
kink.
of a humiliation kink. Wants the Satoku or whatever her name is to, tell him what to do, shall we say.
Are you ready, slave? I'm coming out.
But meanwhile, she's going to get ready in the bathroom. Like, he gives her an outfit to put on, and she goes to the bathroom, and then he gets a phone call, and it's Mel Novak, who's like, hey, do you have the $150,000? And this guy's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then my favorite thing is he hangs up the phone, and Mel Novak just comes out of the curtains from behind him. Did he call him from the same room? What just happened? How is Mel Novak there?
Oh my god! He also disrobes into just a hilarious looking just.
Oh, he's got it's like a corset. Or are you talking about the doctor?
Yeah.
He's got it's like a corset and like garter. He's got like a whole.
It's full on submissive role type.
Yes.
It's
humiliation kink, Kyle. He's into.
Mel Novak puts his hand on his shoulder and he just goes, "Mistress, I didn't know your grip was so strong."
Yes.
Oh, mistress, your grip is so strong.
And then Mel Novak strangles him to death. And so he's dead. And then she comes in and is like, hey. And he's just laying there on the bed. And she's like, hey. And I love eventually when she realizes he's dead, we get the great close up and she's like, ah! That shit cracks me up every time. So now that guy's dead. And then we cut, and now the Irish, I think this is after they found out about all this, and the Irish cop now is looking for information at the brothel because he knew maybe that the prostitute worked there.
That was literally the only thing they had was that this guy was being visited.
Yes.
Which you also would have been like, does he have any vested interest in this? This is a corner he literally saw like the day before.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Hey, he's like, Mel, we'll go check out the brothel. And Irish cop has his own reasons for wanting to go to the brothel. We'll find out.
Nice talking with you, Amanda. Girls?
So he shows up at the brothel and he's talking to Amanda, who's like the madam kind of. She is like the reception. She runs the thing. She runs it apart from Kane, obviously. And he's talking to her, trying to get information, and then basically she's like, well, we got a bouncer, and the bouncer shows up to like kick him out.
And he goes, yes, he does the technique Tadashi did, like flips him over.
Yeah. And this turns on Amanda, who is the madam, immensely. She is just, she is into Irish cop. She got all hot and bothered watching him toss. Oh, Strawberry is the bouncer's name. Tossing Strawberry around. She was like, ooh.
Strawberry?
Now, search warrant or out.
And then at this point, this is where I was like, wait, so did Toshiro just die? Just left him in the woods? What is happening? Because now we're just watching Tadashi drive around on a dirt bike with the katana, sword on his back. I'm like, okay, I guess we're just not seeing what happened to Toshiro. Okay. He's getting chased by like 1,000,000 motorcycles and a plane. There's a plane.
There's an ultralight. They have an ultralight, which I guess is there to survey because you can't add anything onto that. You can't like add, You maybe somebody with a handgun.
And if they were like running drugs or something, you could put a little bit on there. I don't know. Yeah. But so he's got this plane, and he's running from all these people, and he's like drop kicking motherfuckers off motorcycles and slicing them off with his katana.
It's so good.
And then he gets the gun. I love this. He drop kicks one dude off a motorcycle, takes his gun, and just shoots
the plane
from hundreds of meters away.
Yes, there's no way the ammo would go that far at all.
Maybe, depending on how far. Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But then this is an ultralight, by the way. An ultralight. This thing runs on an engine that's smaller than a fucking lawnmower.
Yeah.
And it just flies into the ground and explodes.
A giant fucking explosion. And I love we're getting the pilot's voiceover the whole time. He's like, oh no, I've been hit. The plane is going down. It's great. It's fantastic.
Trying to pull it up. I can't get it up.
So he's murdered them now, and then we just cut, and again, this movie just is like, don't care, just next scene, because then we cut, and we're just back at the brothel, and Tadashi and Irish cop are there now.
Tadashi's on the case somehow.
Yeah, it's like, wait, what? How do you? Okay, I didn't even know you guys were like friends. They're just like buddies now. They went from him beating.
Well, that was his motorcycle. That was Irish cop's motorcycle.
Oh, was it? I missed that part. Yeah. But they're at the brothel now, and this is where because I didn't even realize watching this movie the first time when the girl he sends to the doctor's place, I did not realize that was Satoku.
No, I didn't realize it
until
either.
this scene.
Yes.
And then I walked in, I was like, oh wait, that's the Tashiro's daughter. Holy shit. And I love this is where they have that conversation where they're talking to her and they're like, oh, don't worry, Tashiro's going to be fine. I'm like, is he? We haven't seen, you just left him in the woods. What is? I was like, this is beyond incoherent at this point.
Your father has been hurt, but he will be all right.
Then we just cut to a bar and they're just I think they get some lead to go to some bar. And now they're just beating
this
people
scene
up
is
the bar.
the most out of place scene possible.
Yes. All of the scenes are. I literally, my note here is just random scene after random scene.
There's not even anything connecting it to it or afterward.
Yeah, they just beat up a bunch of people in a bar and then we move on.
And the ADR is fantastic too.
It is really good.
Sorry there, little guy. Did I get you dirty? I didn't mean to get your face all wet there. Let's get that off. Then
Tadashi and Satoku meet up and they like hang out and they go on a tour of LA. And like you said, this is where we find out that Tadashi is apparently on vacation. Doesn't seem like it's a working vacation, I guess, because he seems to be doing a lot of work. But we get this wonderful LA montage as they drive around LA, and it's like, look, here are all of the studios. Here is Hollywood Boulevard.
Do you think they got a budget from the LA tourism
It
division?
feels like something had to have happened for them to have put this in their movie but that just seems so weird but it's literally just like they drive up outside NBC Studios and they're here's the sign of NBC Studios.
Here's $20,000 for your movie. Put our studios in it.
Does LA have to advertise? I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing. But yeah, we get this whole montage. And then, Kyle, the best scene in this movie, or maybe any movie, occurs.
Okay. So Kane knows something's up.
Yes.
He's doing a little snooping.
He's basically following them because he knows Satoku is in kind of hanging out with
They're
Tadashi.
walking probably down Venice Beach or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's up on a cliffside with binoculars
watching
them.
Yes.
So while he's watching them, the rudeness, the indignation of this nun who is in a wheelchair to cross Kane's path.
It's incredible. She be fair, she does bump into him.
Yes.
She like rolls up to him and like slams him in the shin, and he just looks at her and then grabs her wheelchair and throws it off
the cliff. What the fuck? We need him to be super evil. Can we have him kick a dog or kick a puppy or something like that?
We don't have any animals.
No,
what else can we do?
I want him throwing a nun down a cliff.
Throw a wheelchair-bound nun off a cliff, Kyle. It is. You could not write a more ridiculous kick the dog moment. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's so funny. And then I love, we randomly, while that's happening.
Why do we go to this bingo billboard?
What was that, Kyle? I thought I was losing it. We cut to a shot of a bingo hall for like 3 seconds, and then we cut off it, and that had to be an editing mistake. Right? That had to. There's no context. There's no way it means.
Well, there was no sensibility to begin with to bring you into it. You can't say that's nonsensical when what was before it was already nonsense.
I can say it's at least okay. There are other action scenes in this movie where we just watch the action happen and then the scene ends. We don't cut to a random shot of like of TGI Fridays. I don't understand what the fuck you would put a shot of a bingo hall in the middle of this scene of this nun dying. I don't get it, Kyle. I don't understand what's happening. It feels to me like an editing mistake. But
the bingo hall gave them money for the budget, and they were like, can you throw our bingo hall in there somewhere?
Oh, we'll put it in there. You're not going to like where we put it, but we'll put it in there. Just literally in the middle of the scene of this guy murdering a nun. Oh, God. Well, then after that, Kane, he has now murdered the nun. He then kidnaps Satoku and takes her to his evil rape building. I don't know.
Just some warehouse.
That he has.
Or something like that.
And I love that they figure this out because Tadashi and Irish Cop go to talk to Amanda. And I don't know, this scene cracked me up. They're talking to her and she is like 2 feet taller than
Yes.
both of them.
Yes.
I was like, look at these
She
short
is a
kings.
giant.
I think they are also just not particularly tall, but it's these 2 cops, and then she is like towering over both of them.
I think Tadashi was like, Tadashi's just probably a short guy to begin with.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need a cop. I need it to be someone who's like also
Like
kind of
roughly
short
my
too.
height,
Just so I look taller.
I look, I don't look particularly short. They're like, all right, we got Irish cop. He is also 5'7". There you go.
Why are we having her in this scene? She was the only person available.
Yeah,
for
only
the role.
person available. Can we have her sit or something? She is sitting in the rest of the scenes, to be fair. Maybe they filmed this first and then figured out, all right, we look really short when we stand next to her. I don't know, but it's very funny.
Who knows?
See you.
See it.
Then we cut, there's this random scene where Mel Novak and his men are looking for the sword because they've stolen it.
They break into Tadashi's, like, I guess
house or
his
apartment
Airbnb
or something. Yeah.
And they're like, we can't find it. We've torn this place up left and right. And then they just leave, and then it pans up, and it's in the door frame.
It's above the door. It's so obvious. It's not even hidden. It's just like, it's like displayed above the door. And it's like, wait, you guys didn't think to look up? Are they fucking dogs, Kyle? Can they not look up? What is happening?
I have no clue.
It's so insane. And then we cut, and this scene is incomprehensible, Kyle. We cut to a club.
Yes.
And Tadashi is wearing a dress and a wig.
Yes.
Undercover as a woman.
I am not sure.
Some reason.
I think it's information they got from Amanda. That something about this club.
But there's a bar where Kane likes to hang out. Maybe when he leaves there, you could follow him. He might lead you there.
But that was not well said, or the information was not delivered.
No. And the thing that's most insane to me about this scene is that Tadashi is dressed up as a woman undercover in this club. And then Kane walks up and starts hitting on him. And he immediately blows his cover and just, like, tries to arrest Kane or whatever. Or, like, grabs Kane. And it's like, what was the point of being undercover and dressing up if you're just gonna immediately blow your cover? It makes no sense. The only point is that so that after this we get the scene, we get to watch Tadashi beat people up in a dress. That's the only reason it's in the movie.
Sure.
That's the only reason. It's just they think it's fun when he's like in a dress beating people up. But then they grab him and they start taking him somewhere, and then Mel Novak shows up, or they have him take. I think they have Kane take them to the place.
Yeah,
where
to the warehouse.
Satoku, yeah.
Where is she?
I told you she's inside.
Alone?
No, with her grandmother and 6 leprechauns.
There was a point earlier that they made where they're like, these murders and this brothel have to be connected in some way. Brian, are they connected in any way?
No.
Not to our understanding.
Because Kane doesn't... Is Kane even involved with
I think he knows who Mel Novak's character
they're clearly
is,
work together or something.
But, like, they don't seem like they're buddy-buddy. They seem like they're adversarial.
Maybe the only thing is that maybe the people being killed are all clients of the brothel. Maybe Kane is like giving them clients to kill or extort. No,
because there was an IRS guy at the beginning where they first introduced the sword, where Mel Novak has the sword and he's like showing it off. He's the IRS guy giving them the list of names. They threaten him and they're like,
"Oh yeah,
yeah."
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea how this is connected. But anyway, so they handcuff Kane to like the staircase, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna go find her." And then Mel Novak shows up there with his guys and just starts punching Kane in the dick. He really likes dick attacks. Mel Novak's big on punching dicks. Whatever.
Oh man, you don't punch a guy in the dick.
And then.
That's not cool, Butters. You don't shoot a guy in the dick.
And then as he's walking away, Kane is like taunting him, and then Mel Novak's like, "All right, fuck you. I'm just gonna strangle you to death. Then fine if you're gonna be a dick about it." And then, so they are able to go find Satoku, and they like save her, but then they're trying to escape, and they gotta fight a bunch of people and they're like, he's beating people up in a dress.
One of my favorite parts about this is Irish cop is supposed to be taking her out after they, but like they're going up a stairs, and somebody just comes through, and I think either like taps him with their leg or like give him a little soft punch. He's like, "Oh, I'm unconscious on the stairs now."
Yeah,
like that's because they need him out of there. Like he can't do any of the stunts or anything.
Yeah, he's just like, "Oh, I'll just fall over."
In the arms of the angel.
And then then the editing is incomprehensible. At the end of the scene,
Mel Novak comes in and just starts firing his weapon, and it looks like Tadashi runs under the
staircase. He also throws his nunchucks at him, which is very funny. He's like, or whatever he's holding, whatever the weapons he's holding, he throws, and he just runs under the stairs, and then it just like cuts.
Yes, it hard cuts.
And I was like, wait, the scene's over? And then, oh, surprise, Irish cop was captured.
Yes.
And tied up in a chair somewhere. I'm like, what is happening? Again, they didn't understand like the all of the connective tissue and coverage you needed to make scenes work. They're just like, okay, and then we shoot him running under the stair, running that way to avoid the gunfire. Well, we don't have anything to connect any of these scenes, or we don't have any of the shots of like Mel Novak like picking up Irish cop and tying him up.
We'll fix it in post.
We will not fix it in post. We will just slap all these scenes together in post. Is what we will do.
While they're being captured now, Tadashi just comes out of nowhere.
Yes.
And rescues them.
Yes, and he drops. It's great that he drops reports of my death were greatly exaggerated. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing?
Reports of my death were greatly exaggerated.
But he's able to save them. But I love he cuts open their. So Satoku and Irish cop are both like tied in chairs in this room. He comes in, he cuts them free, and then he sets the 400-year-old priceless meteorite sword
that everyone's after.
Everyone is after. He just sets it away from him on the staircase.
Yes.
And then while he's like talking to Irish cop,
somebody's
we get a shot
oh, cool.
of some guy like, ooh, a sword, and takes it, and then it cuts, and then cuts back, and Tadashi's like, oh no, the sword is gone.
They took the sword. How foolish of me.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Come on. Then we get Irish cops squaring off with the police captain. He somehow gets to wherever the police captain is, and they yell at each other for him being corrupt or whatever, and then they shoot each other.
That's it. Yep.
And the police captain dies. Irish cop does not. He just gets like winged or whatever.
There's enough money here to set us both up for the rest of our lives.
Then we cut to the woods, and this is just a montage.
This is just back to back to back. Tadashi just taking out this paramilitary force left and right.
Yes. Just, first guy he fights, he kicks him into a tree and impales him on a tree branch. Then he snaps some dude's neck with his feet. Like, he knocks a guy on the ground, puts his feet around his head and, like, twists, and it, like, snaps his neck. It's incredible. Then he almost gets shot in the dick by an arrow. He's, like, climbing something, and a guy shoots an arrow at him, and it goes...
All these bad guys have their own, like, little...
weapon or thing or whatever.
Their own shtick.
Yes. And then he shoots the guy with the bow and arrow in the dick, and then or the guy with the bow and arrow almost shoots him in the dick. Then, I don't know if it's the guy with the bow and arrow or a guy with a gun. There's this incredible scene where Tadashi sees this guy like stalking through the woods. He takes his shirt off and throws it at the guy. And the guy's like, ah, bang! And shoots the shirt.
And Tadashi, who doesn't look like he's in any kind of cover, just comes off screen and kicks him.
Yeah, just jumps in from off screen and kicks him. And I was just like, oh my god. It's sure, fuck. What is happening? It's incredible. Then he has a staff fight with some dude. He fights this dude with the staves, and then eventually the guy with the staff drops the staff and pulls out size. And I was like, is this vampire assassin all over again? We got staves and size everywhere. And I love, again, it just for no reason. I guess they thought it looked cool, but it just looks stupid. The guy pulls out the size and starts fighting at him, but then towards the end, he like does this move where he jumps and like impales one of the sides in the ground and leaves it there, and then attacks with one. And then why? What does that do? He just like sticks it in the ground and leaves it there, and then attacks. And Tadashi's like, okay, fuck you, and just beats him up.
Okay.
Then a guy with a butterfly knife shot.
Yes, he's constantly whipping that thing around.
That's all he does. It's just like, just constantly. And I love, while this is happening, some person just wanders up in the background of this, and I thought it was a crew member at first that like wandered into the shot or whatever, because there's just some guy like standing in the corner watching them fight, and then eventually we'll see through close-up
it's Mel
Novak. He's just like, kind of hanging out watching.
Need to see if my paramilitary force is up to snuff or not. Nope, it's not.
It is not at all. So he's able to defeat it's actually a pretty fun kill when he kills the guy with the bally song or whatever. He stabs, he spins it around and stabs him and then flips him over and then like kicks it into his chest. Yeah. It's pretty fun. And then he runs away, and then him and Mel Novak square off in the river, in the stream.
Your soul was lost in the river!
It's awesome. It's great. He's got his katana.
This is also the part that has significant choreography.
Yes. So Tadashi has the magical katana. Or no, he doesn't. Sorry.
No, he has the sheath of it.
Because Mel Novak has the katana.
So the katana is planted into
it in the ground. Yes.
And then Mel Novak has a saber that he's fencing
It's like
with.
a small sword or a side sword or something. Yeah. And he throws Tadashi the sheath and is like, here, fight me with the sheath or whatever. And so they sword duel. It's great. And I love their sword. He's like using the sheath and they're fighting or whatever. And then just randomly in the middle of the fight, the spirit of the dead
monks,
Japanese people show up and is like, look, the sword is here. And Tadashi's like, oh, the sword, and runs over and grabs it. It's like you saw him sticking
and
there.
Then we go full anime for a second.
Kyle, I was ill prepared for him to grab the sword. I was prepared for the sword to turn blue, because that happens a lot.
Yes.
Sword turns blue, but it does not stop with the sword, Kyle. It goes,
he absorbs the power of the cosmos.
Fucking glows blue. It's incredible. And so then there's more sword fighting, him, Mel Novak and him sword fighting. And then it gets down to the end of it. And right at the last second, he glows blue again, does some move,
and decapitates him.
Cuts off Mel Novak's head.
And of course, since it's Mel Novak's head is a prop, it just floats down the river.
Yes, it just bounces and rolls and floats down the river. It's incredible. So he has now conquered Mel Novak, and then we just cut, and we're watching them leave. Like they're getting on. We're at the airport or whatever.
There is something I want to point out in this last scene. There is a monk. There is one more monk who is standing on like a terrace while Toshiro and what's her name?
Satoku.
Yeah. They leave for Japan, right? They're heading back. And there is a monk who is on this terrace on the background. Now, in the cast, they have an order of appearance for these people.
Yeah.
And the very last one is third monk, Gerald Nakamura.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What the hell, Kyle? What's going on, man? I did not even notice that guy. That's incredible. Man, we can't. We're falling into a black hole of the same actors over and over and over again. Oh, what's going on?
In very different movies.
Yeah, I love one of my favorite little details in this last scene is that the Irish cop gives Satoku a parting gift. He gives her Irish shamrock seeds.
Yes, it's like here's little clovers that stick everywhere. You know, it's an invasive plant that's like grows like weeds.
I just love the idea that it's an Irish guy. It's like, here, shamrocks. Why don't you also give her like a 6-pack of Guinness and like what are we doing here, movie?
Man,
it's incredible. I love it so much.
Now these are real Irish shamrock seeds. They're very special to me. That's why I want you to have them.
And then we end. They like him and Irish cop like walk away joking.
Yeah, they're doing their little jig going out.
Yeah, and then we end on like a Buddy freeze frame moment, and the A-Team music plays, and I was like, "What? This is incredible! This is great." I will say it's not like the best. I think it's probably good bad.
I think it's good. There's so much hokiness, and of course the nun scene.
Yes,
is just incredible.
The nun scene is worth the price of admission. Absolutely.
Kane is so over the top.
Yes. It is a lot of fun. I don't think it doesn't have as many highs as some other like something like Vampire Assassin or some of the other ones we've done, but it's a middle to lower tier Good Bad movie. I would say it's pretty fun. Pretty enjoyable. I would recommend it. That's going to do it for this episode of Good Bad or Bad Bad. As always, you can do us a giant favor by heading over to patreon.com/goodbadorBadBad. Yes, I said the right one this time, you one commenter, you fuck.
Brian promoting his own shit.
I'm surprised I don't do it more often because I say the same thing on both shows, and I'm surprised I don't switch them more often. Patreon.com/goodbadmedia. Support us there for a few bucks a month. Get access to bonus content and all that sort of stuff. Or is it GB or BB? Links are in the description. Doesn't matter. Yes. You can find it on there. We also have a TeePublic. Get over to tpublic.com and just search for Good Bad or Babbit. Also, link in the description. And
this
you can
is
get merch.
Legit. This is not screen printed.
No. Well,
died, I think. But
whatever. It's high quality.
It's good stuff.
It's very good. All kinds of good GBorBB merch over there. I do have a podcast called This Film Is It, which I like to promote sometimes when I shouldn't be, where we talk about movies that are based on books. When this episode's out, our most recent episode will have been James and the Giant Peach, which was my birthday episode.
Dude, I love that movie.
It's a great movie. It's also a great book, Roald Dahl book that it is based on. I won't spoil which one I picked as my preference in the episode.
Oh, clearly the film.
We'll see. But so anyways, if you want to hear Katie and I talk about James and the Giant Peach, that is out now on This Film Is Lit. And then our next episode is Insurgent, the next book movie of the Insurgent. No, of the Divergent. Whatever the fuck that series is. Anyway, it's not good, by the way. I believe that's it. Sometimes we stream on Twitch. Yes. Kyle more than me. He's pretty good about that. Just head over. Again, links are all down in the description. That's going to do it for this episode. Until next time, keep watching movies.
Especially Sword of Heaven.
I don't have anything else to add.
Okay.